Welcome to Mindboost Moments, the podcast for people rebelling against mediocrity. I'm Caleb, and I'm here with other people who refuse to accept the soul-crushing status quo. These are the change makers, innovators, and the ones who make people leap out of bed excited to grow and become extraordinary. So join me as we explore how remarkable people transform workplaces or human potential, one conversation at a time. This is Mindboost Moments.
So, James McLuckie, based in Edinburgh, wrong side of 50 now, I'm afraid, but there we have it. So I've worked in learning and development since 2003, and then in 2005, 2006, kind of started to specialize in digital learning. It was mostly, for the first few years, it was mostly performance support stuff, and then it became more traditional types of e-learning. Now it's a mix between the two. So mostly in the leadership and management space. And then about 5 years ago, I joined a hospitality technology company who obviously specialised in learning resources for that sector. So my team provided the content for the LMS or the LXP as it ended up being, and took on a new role 2 months ago. So I'm now the VP of Learning for Skill Dynamics. Skill provide learning content for procurement, supply chain, and trade compliance sectors. So very different from hospitality.
Very different from hospitality.
Very different, yeah. Although the compliance aspect obviously is similar, because obviously in hospitality there's lots of compliance training which is mandatory. But yeah, this is very focused on the kind of the more kind of technical learning.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, but one of the things I want to do is bring in more the people development side of those sectors. So people, so that's.
But there's so much to unpack there with just a introduction. I would say
you didn't ask for my autobiography there, but you kind of got it.
I would say embrace the 50, right? Because I'm 50. What am I now? 55 this year.
Right. Okay.
And I just think it's a number. Like in my head, I'm still about 20 in my head. You know?
I'm the same. When I think back to where I was, I was depressed when I turned 30 because I was in a job I hated. My mother had died.
No.
I was skint and single, and so I think back to when I became 40, how my life had changed, because I was then in a job I enjoyed, paid me well, met my husband by that point, and now when I'm on 50, I'm very, very happy about it. Well, my husband turned 59 yesterday, so I'll always be the toy boy, so I always think that.
Well, that's the other way to look at it then. I'm still young.
Exactly. So I'll be 52 in October. But that's fine. I like telling people I'm 50 because I like yourself, I don't feel it. So.
No, and I think you're right. You find a sort of a balance in your life, don't you? You've sort of got that experience, and and whether those experiences are positive or negative, you've sort of got that, and and then in later life, you understand how to manage those emotions a little bit better and to cope with those sort of ups and downs in your journey. And listen, we're all going to get them, aren't we? Whether we're 30, 40 or 50 or older, we still have them. It's just how we cope with them differently.
Yeah, we're all going to get the ups and the downs and the hokies with the cokies. So
I like it. Oh, I'm going to document that. Yeah, the hokies and the cokies.
Exactly. Yes. My gift to you.
Thank you. Do you know, the other thing I wanted to think about was, like, you said you started off actually in performance support, and yet, and like over the sort of the years, that seemed to sort of go down actually in a requirement. And I'm seeing over this year, last year, and carrying on, that performance support and performance and consultancy is really on the rise again, and people are talking about it like it's the brand new thing. And how do you consult with businesses to make the performance better?
Yeah, I mean, so it was a company called Good Practice I joined in 2005. And they were just performance support tools. So, and I said it was in the leadership and management space. And actually, a lot of people, so we call them toolkits. There was one aimed at managers, one aimed at leaders, one aimed at L&D to help them put together learning resources. And it was a real struggle for a lot of people to understand what it was we did, because everyone thought it was, when we first would pitch to businesses, they would always think it was e-learning, and then they would review it and they'd say, oh, but where's the test? It's like, well, it's not that. So we had to change our focus and say, look, start off by saying right from the start, this is not e-learning. This is where, if you're at your job and you have something, a task or activity you need to do, and you need a bit of help with it, that's when you jump into the toolkit, and you'll hopefully find something to help you with that. Um, so there was so that was quite a struggle to start off with, but luckily by the time I joined the business, they had kind of knotted out most of the way of pitching it. So
Okay.
I kind of piggybacked off the back of that. But yeah, the e-learning thing happened. The reason why it switched was because we were always very clear we didn't do e-learning. A lot of our customers, once they started working with us, would say, "Oh, it'd be great if you guys did e-learning, because we've got a really good rapport with you, and we are, really like working with you."
Yeah.
And then eventually I was able to pitch to my CEO, Peter Caspo, who's been an incredible figure in my career development. I said to Peter, look, I think I could set up an e-learning team, and here's the investment that'd be required, and here's what we need to do it. And luckily he said, yeah, go for it. So that's
Wow.
how we started doing e-learning alongside the performance support stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because what we find is, and again, I just wanted to pick into the differences between hospitality and what you're doing now, because the way that we would approach stuff is that humans are at the heart of it. And I'm just reading the stuff: performance support, e-learning, management and leadership. Like, at the heart of everything, there's how do we help people become better, either better versions of themselves, or help them improve their performance. And from our point of view, a lot of it is, how do you create an emotional connection and create that energy in someone that goes, oh, I'm excited to do something different tomorrow than I was doing yesterday. And like, it doesn't really matter whether it's, documents, e-learning, classroom. And I mean, myself, I'm seeing that there's a lot of talk at the minute about a lack of engagement. How do we connect with people emotionally?
yeah.
And I think, well, why has that gone then? Why all of a sudden are we focused on, process and compliance and taking the emotion out of it, where actually that's what's at the heart of all of us as a human?
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's quite an easy way to pitch the kind of, I guess, the duller stuff, as you said, the kind of process-based learning, because actually it's there to make your job easier, isn't it? I mean, or help you get better at something. So, whenever I, like, for example, spoke, like, the hospitality training, for example, a lot of people, sorry, hospitality learning, oh my God, I used the T word, oh, I owe myself a fiver. I mean, there was a lot of the health and safety, food safety, allergens learning, and all that kind of stuff. And the way I'd always pitch it is, well, you have to do it, but it's there to, one, protect you, two, protect the business, your employer, and three, protect your guests, your
Yeah, yeah, customers, yeah.
yeah. So it's there's genuine purpose to this, and actually it's gonna help you do your job better. So and that creates, so you're not having to think about that stuff, because it'll just be ingrained. This is what I do automatically. It
Yeah.
frees up your brain to, like, create great guest experiences, because you're not worrying about stuff. So yeah, I've always found it a little bit easy to get people to understand the purpose of it, because I've always found compliance is not compliance for the sake of it, or process is not process for the sake of it. There is a means to an end to it. So yeah, I've always found that bit a little bit easy to pitch.
And I mean, again, I sort of look at it, it's not slightly different, but I always imagine that food safety is a great example. Traditional compliance learning, there's two ways of cutting that. You can either show lots of information and, expect people to regurgitate it and do something, or you can try and put in hooks that, sort of create a jolt effect and get people really understanding the why and what they can do to impact it and connect with emotionally on that. Just
Absolutely, yeah. That's the classic trick, isn't it, with compliance? It's the show the consequences. If you don't do this, this is what could happen,
and
and
the flip
it's
side
not
to
nice.
that, what's so what, how could everything go really well? I mean, you've just reminded me actually, we did have a client, or we've got a client that we were doing some compliance training for, and we pitched a great video for them. And like, it's a really heartwarming story. And the person goes home, as they always do at the end of the day. And they said to us, yeah, but where's the catastrophe? Well, there's no catastrophe. It's like, this is a story of everything going well and people going home. Oh, well, that's novel. So where is it? And I think she was expecting that, there'd be a big drama and the shock impact of it. And it's got its place, right? But,
Yeah.
we sort of came at it from a slightly different perspective to go, everything's great. And every day could be great if you just do this.
That's a nice way of looking at it. Yeah. Heartwarming compliance training. Who knew it
And
existed?
so doom and gloom. Hey, the other thing that I wanted to pick your brains about then a little bit is, you just mentioned to me about having people overseas that you look after, you manage and stuff. I just wanted to take your perspective on what's different about that, and what some sort of tips or tricks that you've learned to go, right, I've got a distant relationship or remote relationship, leadership style.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not. So previous role, obviously joined it during COVID, and so I had to get to know my team remotely, even though we were all based. Most of us were
Yeah.
all based in Edinburgh, but I never got a chance to meet them when I was trying to form
You
relationships with
weren't
them.
allowed.
Yeah, weren't allowed. Yeah, and then during COVID, because it very quickly became clear that we wouldn't go back to full based office working, some of my team bought houses that were a little bit further away, so they became fully remote. So the team
Yeah.
became hybrid during that process, and that's the first time I'd ever had a proper hybrid team. So, but this new team I've got is it's some are based in so the head office is in Reading. Obviously, I'm based in Edinburgh. Some are based in England. Some are based in the States, and some are based. The majority are based in India. So this is the first time I've managed a truly global team.
Remote.
At a global teams, and it's only been 2 months. So I'm still feeling my way round about it. The first thing I've been trying to do is make it feel more connected. So like setting up kind of regular meetings, and I was quite surprised when I heard that they didn't really interact with each other beyond transactional work stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they've all got quite specialized roles.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did, in fact, we had one of the first ones yesterday, as I got my direct reports. Again, India, the States, and the UK, got
And
them all.
what does that look like? So they're all on like Zoom or Teams or
Yeah,
Google,
so
something like
just
that?
on
Okay.
Teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
had a chat, and I set a skeleton agenda, and just said, okay, we have got different. You all have different specialisms, but they cross over. So why don't we just spend an hour every week just speaking to each other? It's a place to rant or to share something you've learned, talk about what you're working on. And I was
Basically
a
get
little,
to know.
yeah, exactly. I was a little bit nervous about how it would go because, well, nervous is the wrong word. I just look at, but I was very clear at the start. I said, this is a skeleton agenda. And if this isn't working for us, let's give it a go. And if we get to the end of it and we think, you know what, that
Yeah.
didn't really have any value.
Let us know.
But actually, it was, yeah, there was no issue with them all talking to each other. And they all said at the end it was really valuable to
Yeah.
spend time together. I think originally I had it in my head we do it fortnightly, but I was like, that went so well. Why don't we try it weekly and see how
Yeah.
we get on with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So how do you create that um sense of sort of social connection without the physical social connection then? Because it's really easy just have a bit of chit chat when you're shoulder to shoulder with someone.
Yeah,
And we're the same, so we're completely remote from each other, but we're always checking in. But there's that element of, what, I want that shoulder to shoulder sort of interaction where you can just chat crap sometimes.
yeah. Well, I send. most of them, most of my team, every few days, if I've not spoke to them there's always work exchanges, obviously, but a lot of that is done via email. So I always just send them a little Teams message just saying, "You all right? Just checking in, just see how you're doing." Either generally provokes Teams chat,
Yeah.
which is quite, which I have to say I quite enjoy quite often, and or it provokes them just giving me a call, and or I say, "Can I give you a call?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so we can check in with each other. I mean, it's hard to gauge it, isn't it? Sometimes because sometimes you feel that you should do that because you think it's the right thing to do. But actually, the other person's not really in the space to receive that.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I don't ask them this. So, did you appreciate me doing that to
Yeah.
you? Yeah, because that would sound very insincere. But yeah, I think there is that appreciation there that at least
Yeah.
an effort is being made.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it's quite hard to gauge. I think it's about just being a little bit emotionally intelligent and saying, right, okay, thinking, okay, right, that they're not in the space for that today, so that's fine.
I was just going to ask you, do you find yourself working a little bit extra to try and work out how do people operate, what their likes and dislikes in terms of, how you interact with them, how you communicate with them, the language that you used with them from a remote relationship point of view?
Yeah, this role's been interesting in the sense that we have obviously people from a supply chain and procurement background that I'm working with, and they're used to a very different style of communication because they've come from factories or warehouses and stuff where it's very
Correct.
direct. Yes, and that took a little bit of getting used to. "Ooh, okay, this is not the shiny, shiny
Yeah.
hospitality experience.
Yeah.
I know. So this is interesting. But yeah, but I've actually appreciated that because a couple of people have said to me, look, I don't respond well to big email chains or whatever. Just call me.
Yeah.
Great, that's great. I now understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that won't happen again.
Mental
Um,
note.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What I have found actually is people have volunteered information about themselves, volunteered, yeah, they've volunteered more information to me than I would normally expect, and that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
you've created that space for them to feel comfortable to share that with you.
yeah, yeah, that's been really valuable. That and I've not because you asked the question. I'm wondering is that because of me making an effort to make them feel included, or is it just the situation because they are quite remote?
Yeah.
I mean, I always ask people. I always start every call with "How are you doing?
Yeah.
What did you do last night? Any plans for this evening?" I always ask those kind of
Yeah.
questions. And yeah, maybe that is helped to create a safe space for them. But I have to be honest with you, that's not a conscious thing. That's not me going, I'm going to ask this question to make you
No.
feel better. I'm just genuinely interested in, how was your evening?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm similar that I want to know about that person, but I also know that I need to be more observant on calls to people's body language, what their facial expressions and, how
Yeah.
they're responding to stuff more so than if you're with someone, in an office environment all the time. And it's only gonna grow that global remote workforce for people. It's just interesting how other people deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, so the way the setup is obviously I'm based in Edinburgh, the head office is in Reading. So the way that our company works is every Wednesday, Thursday, people are expected in the office. Because I'm in Edinburgh and obviously it's quite a commute. I go in every second week.
Okay.
So this week was my week to
Got
to be
past.
in. I got a pass, yeah, I got a pass. So this week was my week to go in, and I have to say, I mean, in my last role, there was no expectation that you went into the office, so I didn't go in as much as I should have
Yeah.
done, and I kind of regret that because I always enjoyed it when I went into it. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad I've got this kind of stipulation that you have to be
Yeah. It
in.
forces you to get out, else you'll just stay remote
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, and I have to say, I really enjoy it. I really,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's quite a young,
What a
mostly a young.
novelty, eh? Working in an office.
I know, good lord, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still getting used to it. I actually left my laptop in Reading yesterday, so it was like, oh
Oh
god.
God.
So luckily I have my personal laptop. But yeah, no, I have to say I have appreciated, just the going in and the banter has been good,
Yeah.
and it's been really nice for us to get to know. because I'm still the new boy, getting to know people on a personal level and go out for a
Yeah.
drink with them and go out for dinner and things
Yeah.
like that. So it's been lovely actually. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing it.
That's good. So I asked you a question before our podcast. Well, I asked you two actually, but I really wanted to know what excites you and makes you fizz with energy each day. What makes you leap out of bed?
The thought of the breakfast that I bought myself last night that I'm gonna enjoy in the morning.
What is that breakfast then? Tell me. Come
Oh,
on.
it can be anything. So that tends to happen at weekends, where it might be, yeah, I've got all ingredients for a really cracking scrambled egg dish. It could be I've decided to treat myself. Well, it's not a fry up because we grill our food, but a
Yeah,
grill up.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, or we've decided to go out for a nice brunch somewhere.
Yeah.
So that always kind of excites me. On a personal level, actually, it goes back. There's not one thing because obviously every day is different. There's not one thing that I do every day that would excite me. At the moment, I am. This goes back to what we talked about, the kind of interaction with people. It's not something that I always seek out necessarily because sometimes your day is very head down and you need to research and write something. But then when the interaction does happen, like I have an occasion to reach out to a colleague, or or on a personal level, I have occasion to reach out. Uh, when that goes well, like when you come off a call or an exchange, and you're going, that was great for various reasons. Either we solved a work problem, or there was banter flowing, or both.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me, yeah, that gives me an energy that
Mm.
I've realised that I missed by not going into the office or having interaction with people as often as I clearly do enjoy. So
Yeah.
so there's that. On a personal level, I've been on a bit of a fitness kick. Again, not as it's not been as successful as it could be because it goes back to the breakfast thing, the kind of moving the fork to the face and the pint glass to
Yeah.
the knife. It's kind it's kind to me the progress has been a little bit slower than it should be. But I've kind of got to a point now where going to the gym is it's not as torturous as it was. It's
Okay.
still effortful and it's still difficult, but a good way, because it's like it's like, okay, I can push myself more, and it's it feels like it's having the right effect.
And what's the is the routine cardio or is it weights?
It's both. So
Okay.
so what I try and do is so try and go 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I was having so I do half an hour of cardio. It was cross trainer because I've got bad knees.
Look,
I
we're getting
know
really deep now.
exactly. Yeah. But what I decided to try and do is do interval running on the treadmill, and that's been working, and it's been getting the knees. Fingers crossed, they're holding up. So I've been taking turmeric and things like that for it. Yeah,
Okay.
so hopefully that's working. Obviously, losing weight as well is
Yeah.
putting less stress on them. But yeah, that seems to be working. So, and I did one on Tuesday there, and I was like, this feels like, yeah, it felt good. I mean, I was like, this. I really
And
enjoyed
like
that.
progress.
Yeah, I could see the progress.
Yeah.
I felt fit doing it and all that kind of stuff. I didn't look it. I was a fat, sweaty mess coming
I
off.
think the first thing is how you feel actually, because
Yeah.
I it's funny that you mentioned that because I've always been quite sporty. So whether that's rugby, karate, or gym, I've always gone down the gym. And I went through when I started setting up Mindboost, I sort of that took over and all of that sort of declined really. And then I got to a point where I thought I want to go back down to the gym. And it was like a real flip in my head to say, I'm starting Monday. And what has really helped me is an app called, I think it's called Strong actually, because I love to challenge myself actually. And so it just, rather than a piece of paper saying, this is what you lifted last week and
Mm.
this, and keep all those notes, it really prompts me to go, right. Yeah, if you lifted 20 last week, you're going to do 25 and then 30. And like that motivation, that's what I've found as the motivation to me to go, right, I just need challenging.
Well, interesting. My relationship with health and fitness has been patchy, shall we say. I've gone. COVID ruined it, to be honest with you, because I was before it got to COVID, I was quite fit. I was doing probably pretty fast 5Ks 3 times a week. going to the gym 3 times a week, sometimes four. But COVID time, obviously, that all changed. So I changed to doing HIIT classes in the house, and I was getting quite good at sticking to it. But because of high
The house
impact,
got destroyed,
the house
but
got exactly. I mean, I'm 6'7" and I'm a big unit, so yeah. There was I'm fairly sure the stress I put on the foundations of the property were quite significant. But the thing is, that really buggered my knees up because obviously
right.
you're doing the high impact stuff. So when I did go back to the gym, two things happened. That the high impact stuff was really affecting my knees when I ran on a treadmill, and also I developed asthma through long COVID.
Right.
So I remember when I did that first treadmill run after going back, I was going, okay, I knew this would be difficult,
Didn't expect
but I'm
this.
shocked how difficult
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
finding this. So that's when I went to the doctor, and they did all these tests and goes, yeah, you've developed some asthma. And I was, oh, bugger.
Wow.
Anyway, that's manageable.
Yeah.
I've got inhalers and stuff, so I use those now. But so it's been quite patchy. But in terms of motivation, what I decided to do was engage with a performance coach. So um, he's not one of those PT type people. He's just basically someone who holds you to account. He says, look, you talked about you're going to do this and this, and let's talk about how your week went. And actually, that's been good. See those times where I've sat and I've went, oh, I'm not effing going to the gym. I just can't be bothered. I thought, oh God, I've got my appointment with Chris on Friday, and he'll ask me about it, and I don't want to be saying I didn't go because I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Um, so I'd make myself go, and I'd always feel much better that I did it.
Yeah.
That's been good. The one thing's been less successful, as I said, is we talk about diet, and it's great during the week. I'm very disciplined, and I'll even do things like fasting. If I know I'm going out for dinner at night, I'll not eat during the day. And actually, that was very tough at first, but I think my body's got used to it. But then at the weekend, it just went,
Yeah.
it's
Enjoy
that's just
yourself.
yeah. I think so. We had quite a big week this week. We were
I
out for dinner Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well,
I know.
do you know the language I've just picked up on as well is you said I try and get to the gym 3 times a week, and I was going to say you need to change that then to I do go down the gym 3 times a week,
Yeah,
because if you're
no.
going to have those blowouts, that's the accountability bit kicking back in.
There's definitely something about reframing the way you speak about things, and yeah, I had before this call, I had a meeting with Chris, the performance coach chap, and he was saying some of the language you're using is not helpful. You need to reframe that differently. And I was, oh, you're
Interesting.
right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And is there stuff then that you can take from your performance trainer that you might think is useful in a work environment as well?
Yeah, because his whole thing was don't deny yourself, right? So he says, I'm not going to sit with you and calorie count, and I'm not going to, make you feel bad. And I actually said the word this morning, I'm not here to chastise you. And because, I keep a food diary for him and we go through it. And, there was a big meal
Because
on
this is an adult
Sunday.
relationship as well.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But his thing is, it's not don't deny yourself stuff. It's about kind of making better choices is the way that he says it.
Yeah.
And we were going through the diary, and I was saying, and actually, I wasn't expecting to have lost weight this week, but I ended up losing 3 pounds because we had all that stuff going on last
Congratulations.
weekend. Thank you. 2 stones lost, two to go, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But he said, but look at the rest of your diary. You've made better choices. You've kind of made up for the blowout you had at the weekend because your lunches are all very healthy. It's all lots of vegetables and
Yeah.
protein and
You're
stuff.
being
And
purposeful about it.
yeah, and do you know what? But when I thought about it, I was like, do you know what? I didn't even really do that consciously. I just did it because it felt
I
like the
suppose
right
that's
thing
the
to
change
do.
that's happening
Yeah,
then. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to the gym after this call. I'm looking forward to doing it. But to go back to your original question, sorry, his the philosophy that he has of not denying yourself and just make better choices is something I have actually started saying to people in the team. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's think about. So I'll give you an example. Member of my team was asked to do a piece of work for a business development person. The business development person was quite disappointed with the work that the person did. Sent them an email telling them that. Obviously, the person in my team reacted very badly, sent their own email. So it's kind of like managing both of them, saying, "Okay, here's what I would have done in that situation. Do you agree that that might have been a better way of handling it?" And I probably should have said, took more of a coaching approach and said, would you have done that differently, and what would you have done? But I figured it needs an interjection of perhaps some common sense. How arrogant, here's the choice I would have made in those
Yeah.
situations, and I did that with both of them, and actually they were quite helpful for that, and quite grateful for that, and I hope that's healed something in that relationship, and I think it has, because they've exchanged subsequently, and it's been much more productive.
Yeah. I mean, something like that, most people don't go out their way to offend other people. They just want the best outcome to stuff,
Mm.
don't they? It's just how do you do that? And unless you've got this sort of jolt of someone saying, hold on a second, let's just replay that or repackage that. How could you get a better outcome to it? Most
Yeah.
people just carry on doing what they've done the day before unless someone tells them that's not working.
Yeah, and I had to explain to my team member that the business development guy was under a lot of pressure. He possibly would not have responded the way he did if he didn't have that pressure. Yeah, I mean, it's about, and this is actually something that goes back to your conversation about earlier about how do you manage people remotely. The team member I'm talking about is quite isolated. Doesn't come into the office because of the location, and yeah, they do a very solitary job. So I was mindful of that, and when I was explaining to him, look, here's some of the variables that's probably led to this exchange. And yeah, so he never thought of it like that, and so that was, yeah. So I think, yeah,
Helped him.
yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, that showing that empathy for his
Yeah.
situation, where it was like,
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but from the other perspective, this is why this has happened, I think.
I love how, but how stuff that we think in our personal lives that like there was a school of thought ages ago that personal and work are two separate things, but actually they're just a real blend, aren't they? And it's
Yeah,
how do
especially
we
now. Yeah,
how yeah, really we're doing like in that traditional day as well to say no, this is work between these hours and outside of that is personal stuff. It is just a complete blend.
yeah. Sorry, on you go. Sorry.
I mean, I'm thinking about like the gym as well and getting back to that. I like yesterday, as soon as I got in the gym and was doing something, my head just started working in overload. And I was
Mm,
like, I try and detach myself from doing other stuff in the gym, but my head was just whirring, going, I need to send this idea because it's just happening.
yeah.
And I think sometimes the gym and the stuff outside, it is all a blend because you just get experiences from what you do and fire them off to people to go, I think this might work. This is a different way. This is working in my personal life. Could it work in work?
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And I think what I've learned over the years is when those moments happen, quite often, like you say, in the gym or out for a walk or what have you, and it's meant to be your kind of your personal time
Yeah,
at your lifetime. But I think, well, why? They're so ingrained now, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I do have most of my best ideas when I'm meant to be, having a break from work.
detached. Yeah, because your
Yeah,
brain's resting from it purposely, and then you go. Actually, it's still thinking about it in the back,
yeah.
and I'm relaxed though, and I get my best ideas about that.
Exactly, and it's like, and the way I look at it is, if you get those good ideas and it's meant to be your lifetime, not your work time, it makes your work much better, because So I just embrace these things now.
Yeah,
I, yeah, absolutely, just think, yep, they're just intertwined, and that's not a bad thing
that's
necessarily.
life nowadays.
Yeah,
Hey, I have completely enjoyed our conversation. I'm just conscious of time. We could ramble on all day, I'm sure.
absolutely, yes. Well, listen, again, thanks for inviting me, Caleb. I really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you so much. If
Okay.
if people want to know a little bit more about what you're doing, what's the best way to get hold of you?
So obviously I'm on LinkedIn. There's a lot of, because I was looking for a new job a few months ago. It's incredibly up to date. All the testimonials are on there, who I nagged people for to write. They can find a lot about me from those. I don't use Twitter so much now. I like a lot of X for obvious reasons. So I did dip my toe into Blue Sky, and I do go into it, but just, yeah, it's just quite quiet, isn't it? So yeah, I'd say LinkedIn is probably the best
LinkedIn,
way of,
James
yeah.
McLuckie. Is there any more James McLuckies out there?
There's a few, but
Oh, is there?
yeah, but the kind of strawberry blonde pink shirt, that's me.
Fabulous.
standing outside. So yeah, so you'll notice me.
Well, amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
No worries, Caleb. Okay, I'll see you in person soon, hopefully.
See you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
If you're ready to join the uprising against mediocre learning, don't let the conversation end here. Subscribe to Mindboost Moments wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're tired of soul-crushing e-learning that puts people to sleep in your business, it's time to experience what happens when digital learning makes people leap out of bed with excitement. Just visit us at mindboostlearning.com.